we're going to need a lot more shells.
What do you get when you combine a hit 80s movie with a toy company? Well, you get toys, but most importantly, you get games out of the wazoo. I'm talking about LJN pairing up with Nintendo to produce a whole collection of movie-based games. They even did Nightmare on Elm Street, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Friday the 13th. There are quite a few game buffs that talk about how bad LJN is with their games. That's not always the case. And a matter of fact, I have no problem with LJN games aside from one that I can think of. That's Back to the Future. That game is like having to learn French in 5 minutes. It's just a bunch of jumbled chaos. So with Jaws, you are, I'm assuming, Martin Brody, who's hunting for the shark. I know that movie. It's called Jaws, and it's based about a shark eating people. But I don't think anyone said his name was actually Jaws. They're just referring to his mouth. It took me a while to figure out what I had to do, but I don't have the book for it. We use an emulator on a PC because we don't have the access to the consoles yet, but we do use the traditional controllers. And dude, let me tell you what, these are so stiff compared to an Xbox controller. I probably died more than times than I've been to the bathroom today. Actually, I don't think I've been to the bathroom at all. Anyways, you start at a port, and you have to travel across the map, back and forth. To make it to the next port, in between that, you'll be randomly selected to do an underwater segment where you as the diver have to fight off stingrays, jellyfish, and sharks. The sharks are less common, but they drop a conch shell. The conches are your currency you use to level up your harpoon gun, so you can eventually kill Jaws. Sometimes the enemies will also drop either a star, which is worth 1,000 points, or a crab that runs across the screen at the speed of sound. If you catch, speeds up your diver. You have to be really careful about how many crabs you get though, because these controllers can hardly keep up with them moving very quickly. You can end up going so fast that it makes the game too dangerous to even try. Every once in a while, when you're traveling from part to part, you can see a dorsal fin bobbing in and out of the water. It's not Jehovah's Witness, I can tell you that. If you've already made it to the 4th part though, it gives you a radar that you can use to track Jaws. It makes a constant sound. But it gets slower and faster depending on how far away Jaws is. You can honestly start working on them at level 3, but every time you get an interaction, Jaws heals. So unless you can manage to travel around without ever getting drafted for wars, then you could technically do it at level 1. When you've done a water segment correctly, you'll end up with a bonus screen, which is a mini game. I'm not sure what these jellyfish ever did to deserve being bombed this way, but I'm 5% sure that we wouldn't be doing it without good guys, right? Unless this is an elaborate scheme by Mr. Krabs to keep SpongeBob from having a hobby. So, he has to go to work constantly. I mean, think about it. Why else would they use a whole bomb on a jellyfish? Seeing this game predates SpongeBob by 12 years, it's probably not the case. It was a fun little rabbit hole to trip over though. Speaking of tripping, I swear that I see a submarine from time to time. I never get to make it to its location in time though. I always either forget or get nuked on the way to it. I wonder what it does. Okay, so the sub is definitely a must-have if you're newer to the game. And don't have the thumb capability to machine gun the B button. So basically when you encounter Jaws while traveling, you get to start a fight on the ship with the ability to throw bombs at Jaws before you end up in the water with him. The submarine takes it a step further. Once you get hit on the boat, you would normally drop into the water as a diver. If you have the sub though, you get to drop it as a submarine and be able to fire friggin' rockets at the shark. And how strong this behemoth of a creature that 100 missiles don't blow it to smithereens. You would think that you could stop the shark with that kind of firepower, but apparently Jaws is on some shark crack and doesn't care. He walks right through it and eats you. It's not entirely more efficient than just thumb blasting unless you prefer it. Even on power level 5, it takes the same amount of time to get his health down as it does without it. Maybe I need to get experience for myself. Maybe it's a thumb saver. Oh well, I've never used it to beat the game before, so that's not a key piece. Okay, you finally leveled up to power 5, and you're ready to tattoo a shark with lead. You find him with the tracker. You knock his health down, it's flashing. Now what? A new minigame. Jaws is now coming towards you, and you're at the bow of the boat. just like in the movie. You gotta shank an oversized guppy with your bow. Gah! Direct hit! God, the ending screen is gonna be epic. I wonder if they're gonna use like a movie clip or some dope audio for the film. The end? That's it? Just the end?